welcome to this 45 minutes of mindful self-care yoga. And today we're going to start a series, a three-part series of how to fly, how to crow, how to bakasana. And this is an arm balance. So my advice for this class, we're going to break it down into pieces to prepare the body, the muscles, the mind of being on our hands. And so we're going to need 2 blocks. I'm sitting on a blanket, and that's all we're going to need today. We're going to warm up the core, we're going to warm up the upper back, and it's going to be a process where today we're not going to fully fly. We want to prepare the body for us to be able to fly. And then on the following classes, we're just going to use props to help us to get there. And then on the let's see what happens. But remember, this is a process that takes consistent practice, if not years, for us to feel fully strong, fully mentally prepared to get all our bodies in our hands. So with that being said, just take a moment there and find your comfortable seated. We're going to start with a little bit of breathing centering. Before we fly, we need to ground ourselves. And close your eyes if that feels the right option for you. And drop your attention within, observing how you feel this moment. And notice the weight of your pelvis grounding you into the ground. And feel how every inhale makes your spine a little bit taller and higher, straight up to the sky. Every exhale is helping you to ground and feel more support underneath your hips. Continue settling your attention into the breath. Feel the breath coming in and out of your nose. Just notice how the breath perhaps is also bringing some movement into the chest area. And visualize that position, the asana we're going to practice today, which is the crow pose, bakasana. Notice what kind of emotions or thoughts are coming into your existence when you think about the pose. And ask yourself how real or what is true about any of those feelings or sensations or even thoughts about the pose. And if any of those feelings are limiting or preventing you to explore the pose, see if you can do the best of your ability to set them aside without judgment and ask yourself, if I were to actually do this, how would that feel in my body? And perhaps go further and visualize yourself getting into the asana without any struggle and completely ease and fun. Notice how will that feel to be able to experience something like that. Now slowly bring your awareness back into your whole full body. Take a deep breath in and full exhale. And slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. I'm going to start by stretching the upper back, the trapezius. So just kind of drop the neck to the right. I should say the head. Bring the head back to center, drop it to the left. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Bring the head to center, drop the chin to the chest without leaning forward with the chest. And slowly come back to center. Extend the arms out to the side, touch your shoulders with your fingertips. Keep those elbows high and just draw circles with the elbows. You can go from small to medium to big, and just gently you're gonna switch sides or direction of the circle. Just kind of warming up and awakening the shoulder joints. Good, and release the hands out to the side like a T position and bring the arm on top of the left. Try to stack the elbows and bring the forearms up and touch the back of your palms. Sink the chest back and find this variation of eagle pose. The more you press the forearms, the more you're separating shoulder blades in here. Continue squeezing the elbows into each other, forward and up. One more breath. And then exhale, release. Extend the arms out to the side, opposite side. Setting the arms nice and slow and breathing into the shoulder blades. Good, and then slowly release. Just go ahead and into hands and knees for tabletop. Any padding that you might need extra, remember you can always adjust, you can always modify. You guys are experts at this point, right? So always embrace what you need to do. Once you find your tabletop, let's just do 3 rounds of cat-cat. So neutral spine. As you inhale, lifting the tailbone, opening the heart, pushing the floor away with your hands and feet. Exhale, round the spine, drop the tailbone, drop the head, and continue pushing the floor away. 2 more rounds like that. Inhale. Exhale. Deep breath in, last round. Exhale. Find that neutral spine again, and we're gonna come into puppy pose. So we're gonna walk the hand gigantically forward so we can drop the chest, keeping the hips right above the knees. You can rest the forehead here for a moment, open the hand as you have to. Allow the shoulders to feel that deep stretch in front of the chest, your pecs. Keep your legs engaged, keep your feet engaged. One more inhale. Exhale, press to lift yourself up, back into that tabletop. We're gonna thread the needle on the right side, so neutral the spine. One inhale, full exhale. One inhale, open the chest to the right, extend the arm. Exhale, bring it under and behind the left, drop the right shoulder. Walk the right in front of you and continue to squeeze the lower belly. Use that right hand into the ground and lean into that right shoulder. Breathe in deeply. Keep the pelvis neutral. Walk the left hand back near yourself and press to lift yourself up. Opposite side. Inhale. Open the chest to the left, extending the left arm up. As you exhale, bring it under and behind the right. Left shoulder on the ground. Right hand forward. And use that both hands to ground yourself so you can find that gentle twist from the lower back, leaning into that left shoulder. And then come back to center, slowly back in. We're gonna now tap into that core and we're gonna use the knee for that. So what we're gonna do here, I got something in my mouth, sorry. We're gonna extend that right leg back, keep the pelvis neutral, keep this neutral. And as you exhale, you're gonna bring that right knee to the right overarm. Squeeze that back heel in, exhale, extend. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bring it in. And as you bring the knee into the upper arm, almost like you're doing a cat on the upper back. And you can bring that knee outside the upper arm, inside the upper arm, just squeeze and one more. And then release. Flip your right palm just for a moment here. Give your wrist a gentle stretch. Spread your fingers wide. Keep breathing. Keep relaxing. Any tension that starts to accumulate. And then slowly flip your right palm. Let's start on the left side. Extend left leg back. Neutralize. Don't collapse in the midsection. It's very important you draw the belly in. Left knee into the left overarm, squeezing the heel close to your, and exhale, extend. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bring it in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Exhale, extend. Inhale in. You got this. Exhale, extend. Turn around. And exhale, extend. And then flip your left palm. Give yourself a moment there. Now, before we go into downward facing dog, I want to do scapula push-ups. It's very important for the upper back strength. So just review, we're just moving the chest, we're just moving the scapula, we're not moving the core, we're not moving the pelvis, okay? So in tabletop, neutral spine, we're gonna sink the chest to the floor, so it's almost like you're bringing the shoulder blades together, and then as you exhale, you push the shoulder blades apart. So it's like the chest comes down, and then the chest press away from the floor, as you kind of bring the shoulder blades in and the shoulder blades apart. So once you get the rhythm of it, let's just do 10, starting now. Inhale, exhale. Try to keep those elbows straight and arms straight. Inhale, exhale. That's 2. Inhale, exhale. 3. Inhale, exhale. 4. Inhale, exhale. 5. Inhale, exhale. 6. Inhale, exhale. 7. Inhale, exhale. 8. Inhale, exhale. 9. Inhale, exhale. 10. Go into child's pose for just a couple breaths. Knees apart, knees together. Any type of child's pose that feels the best for you right now. Good, and now from here, we're gonna flip ourselves into our backs. Remember, this is just a preparation of the whole body for this pose. It's not an easy pose, so we need to make sure we have the right engagement, the right awareness of all the muscles that are necessary for the pose. Once on your back, whether you want to have support on the neck or not, try to minimize arching the lower back. So we want the entire spine completely rooted on the floor, everything. So we want the arch here. We want to bring that belly and ribs in. We're going to bring the knees above the hips. We've done some of these exercises before. If you check on the core classes on demand, that's going to be a good way to continue strengthening the core here. So keep those knees up on top of the hips, so you can use your hands there to not allow the knees to pass the hips. We want the knees around the hips. That's going to activate the lower belly, so to continue dropping the belly in. You're going to extend the right leg halfway forward down, and then bring it in and switch inside. Nice and slow. You're going to notice the lower back wanting to arch. Minimize it. Keep the core in, and it's up to you how far down you want that leg to go. The lower it goes, the more you need to become aware of the engagement of the core as you minimize that the spine separates from the mat. And just do 2 more rounds on each side. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, extend. You got this. Last one. Good. And now bring the knees into the chest. Often gently rock side to side. Okay, now from here, we're going to do and pretend to do the crow pose on our backs. And this is the best way for us to mentally prepare, and the muscles get the engagement as if you were doing the pose on your hands. So how we're going to do this is we're going to touch the big toes and open the knees slightly wide. It's almost like doing a child's pose on your back. And those heels are going to try to bring as close as you can to your body. Touch your big toes, keep the heels drawing to the body, and your knees are as wide as if you were doing child's pose on your back. Now, we're going to press that belly in. We're going to lift the chest up, pulling the chest up, and separating the upper back away from the floor. So your hands are coming in between the thighs, reaching straight up to the sky. So if you were to look, your knees can actually touch your upper arm. Then you're lifting from the chest, not from your shin. Lift and lift and lift and pressing belly in. Squeeze the heels in. And then exhale, release, feet on the ground. And just notice how demanding that was. And so the more we practice this, once we go upside down into our arms, we already are familiar with the challenge that is required for the strong core, legs in, pushing the floor away, okay? Let's just do 3 more rounds of crow on your back. Settle the pelvis. Close the ribs in. Find your child's pose on your back. Extend the arms between the legs and press that knee into the upper arm and vice versa. And here, lift the chest. Press your arms almost like you're holding the ceiling. Breathe in. Exhale, release, 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 release. Take a deep breath in. We have 2 more rounds. When you're ready, go for it. 2 breaths, crow on the back. Exhale, release. Give yourself here a moment. Reconnect to that breath. Now let's just do that last round. 3 breaths in here. And then release. Hug the knees to the chest. Gently rock side to side. Good, and then bring your hands behind your thighs. We're gonna roll back and forth so we can come into tabletop again. Nice. So come into tabletop. Go into downward facing dog. Position yourself, deep stretch of the legs. Keep pushing the floor away with your hands. Let the head rest in between the arms. Continue grounding yourself through your legs and hands to bring those hips a little higher up. Very nice. Take 1 more breath in here. Full exhale. 3-legged dog on the right side. Extend, open the hip, bend the top knee. Squeeze that heel in. Now, as you exhale, extend the top leg, square the hips, bring that right knee into the right upper arm. Squeeze, 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 and come into the tippy toes of your left foot. Exhale, extend, open the hips, and bend the top knee. All right, so we're gonna do that 3 more rounds. Inhale, extend, square, Exhale, knee to the upper arm. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, extend, open the hip, bend the knee. 2 more like that at your own pace. Use that breath to keep you centered, to keep you grounded, to keep you relaxed. The slower you go, the more control and precision you understand in the body. Very nice. Once you're done, let's meet in downward facing dog. 2 rounds of breath. Three-legged dog, left side, inhale. Open the hip, bend the top knee, squeeze that top heel into your glutes. Exhale, extend, square, inhale, knee to the left upper arm. Exhale, extend, open and bend. Inhale, knee to the left upper arm. And last one, open and bend. Exhale, knee to the left upper arm. Downward facing dog or child's pose, 2 rounds of breath. And then you can walk the feet back, your hands back or your feet forward. We're gonna come into Malasana. So make sure your feet are pointing on the same direction of your knees. And as you come into that deep squat, let your chest open up as you palms together in the center of the heart. Notice how the upper arms are pressing into the knees and the knees into the upper arms, and just kind of squeeze and push at the same time there. Inner thigh stretch. And then from here, we're going to come into Navasana, boat pose, continuing. Now we're going to do a variation of crow pose, seated crow pose. So we did crow pose on the back. Now we're going to do a crow pose seated. So from Navasana, you got to have the very mindful awareness of that core engagement here. And we're gonna do a child's pose variation on the seated, right? So imagine you were in child's pose, opening the knees wide, big toes touch. We wanna bring those heels closer to your body, keep those knees hugging on the upper arms, extend the arms in front of you, and round the upper back, and pretend you're pushing the floor away. This is cross seated. And then release all the way down, Baddha Konasana seated. Take a couple of breaths. We're going to try that 3 more times. This is all to engage and awaken the muscle memory, because your mind doesn't know if you're actually doing crow in your hands. Everything is exactly the same engagement, the core, the belly, the hip flexors, the upper back, right? Just preparing the terrain for the big fly. Crow pose, seated crow pose. We have 2 more rounds to go after this. Breathe in, breathe out. 1 more inhale. Exhale, release. Baddha Konasana, legged, cross-legged position. Seated crow, when you're ready, 3 rounds of breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, release. It's okay if you fall. It's okay if you lose your balance. It's not about perfection, right? We're here just to explore the body, just to be creative and playful about it. All right, let's do our last one when you're ready. Squeeze those knees into the upper arms, squeeze the heels in, big toes touching, belly in. 1 more breath. Good, and then exhale, release. Baddha Konasana now. I'm gonna face you. You can sit a little taller if that's what you prefer. Take a moment here in Baddha Konasana to ground your breath if it gets agitated. And then from here, we're gonna do a gentle twist to the right. Just let your chest and your shoulders be right above the hips. Crown of the head straight up. And bring your gaze to look above the right shoulder. And slowly release, opposite side. Twist into the left. Good, and then slowly release. We're gonna come into a little bit of playfulness into actually adding some weight into our hands, but let's just warm up the wrist a little bit. You can stay in Baddha Konasana, or you can modify your legs in a way that feel comfortable while you're seated. We're gonna interlace our fingers, we're gonna keep the base of the wrist together, and we're gonna move the hands in the palms in circle in here. Try not to move the shoulders or anything. It's just the wrist here. And switch direction. Then separate, and I want you to just kind of shake your hands back and down and forward, and it's almost like you just wash your hands. There is no towels. Just kind of sprinkling the water. Just loosen up the wrist in here. Good, and what we're gonna do now, we're gonna open and close our fingers very fast. Very fast as you can. Open and close, open and close, open and close. And you're gonna continue that and reach the arms overhead, open and close the fingers. And then reaching the arms out to the side. Continue open and close, open and close. And you might start to feel some heat. You might start to feel numbness. We're strengthening your forearm joints. Very important for healthy wrist. Continue open as far as you can. Hands in front of you, and we're gonna do that 2 more rounds. Continue open and close as fast as you can. Arms overhead. Hands out to the side. Open and close, open and close. You can do this. Hands forward, open and close. 1 more. Open and close, arms overhead. Exhale, hands out to the side. Open and close as fast as you can. Hands forward. And then release. Notice. This is a great exercise for any conditions that you might feel on the wrists. At work, just open and close. All right. So now we're gonna play a little bit with getting some weight into our hands without doing the full expression or without any expectation. And what I want you to do is we're gonna, whatever situation you choose to sit, we're gonna come up into our feet, and we are going to come into a child's pose on our feet. You are rising the heels. You're gonna bring hands in front of you, and you're gonna use those knees, right, to either be right with upper arms like I'm doing here or outside. You choose which one. So then from here, we're gonna draw the belly in, and notice my spine. I'm rounding my upper back. So if I were to show you just the upper back, I'm just doing this. I'm just really scooping like a cat in here with my knees on the upper arm. And I'm gonna place, and I'm gonna hug the knees in into the upper arm, and place your hands in front of you, fingertips to the front of the mat. And from here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna gently bend the elbows, and you're gonna lift the hips and lean forward, nice and slow, just like that. Okay, so we're keeping the heels high. We're hugging the knees into the upper arms. And with the upper arms, we're pressing the knees apart too. And then we're lifting the hips and coming up and down. And so feel free to play with that for a few more rounds. So you can gather that sensation of shifting the body weight in hands. Okay? And if you need a break, take a break. But this is very crucial in order to you to feel comfortable into that flying position of the Bakasana. Take a break if you need to. And we're gonna try that again because repetition is key, right? In anything to progress and anything to get better, it's very important to just be consistent. So gather your strength, let go of expectations, and just settle your body in this position that perhaps might feel new to you. So you might need to get a moment there to just feel confident and familiar with it. Once again, we're spreading the fingers, we're lifting the heels, we're lifting the hips, and we're coming into this gently back and forth. So the elbows are passed back the wrist, and that's okay for today. That's okay for today. Keep your gaze forward, keep bouncing up and down. Maybe you come into your tippy toes as you reach the heels and the hips high. Good, and then release, come all the way into your seated position and extend both legs in front of you. Let's do a Dandasana. Dandasana, classical, both sit bones on the ground, crown of the head straight up, arms overhead, flexing your feet. And Paschimottanasana, dropping the chest forward and down, grabbing the heels, grabbing the toes, your ankles, your knees, your thighs, wherever your hands land. Give yourself here a moment to have that deep stretch of your back. And then slowly come all the way up. So a bridge pose just to counterbalance all that rounding and forward. 2 rounds of bridge pose. Walking the feet close to you. Settle the shoulders. Remember the lower back, it's a little arch already. Plant your palms by your side, lift high up, bring the chest back. You can interlace the fingers underneath if that feels better. Keep the chest and your gaze straight up to the sky or your belly. Plant yourself through the heels, your toes, your arms. One more breath. Good, and then exhale, release, hips down to the ground. Just rest here for a moment. Second round, bridge pose or full wheel. Whatever you feel, it's the right choice in your practice at this point. Two more breaths. And exhale, release, nice and slow. Hug the knees into your chest. Gently rock side to side. Let's come into supine twist. Both knees to the left, right arm opens, and feel free to rest those thighs on top of a blanket or a block. Feel that side stretch on the hips and your glute perhaps. Settle your attention back into this cooling down time. Notice internal heat that we build up throughout the practice. And then slowly bring yourself back to center. Opposite side. If you were using any props or any support, shift it to the other side. And then allow both knees to drop. To the right as you open your shoulder to the left. Two more rounds of breath. Knees are coming back up to center, and we're gonna come into happy baby, or if you prefer, supine pigeon. I'm gonna go for my supine pigeon here, but if you're doing happy baby, stay there, settle in. Just relax in the neck, the shoulders, and your jaw. If you went for the supine pigeon variation, just shift sides. If you're still in happy baby, continue being happy in your pose. And then happy baby or pigeon, both feet are on the ground now. Let the knees rest against each other and reach the arms overhead. And maybe you make a pillow with your arms, just kind of stretching the chest and opening the chest. Two more rounds of breath in here. And then slowly extend the legs in front of you, reach the arms overhead, give yourself a long, deep stretch. And then as you exhale, release the hands by your side and enjoy a brief moment here for final relaxation, Savasana. Now cover yourself with a blanket or anything to make yourself a little bit more comfortable. Go for it. It's going to be very brief, but I think we have done a lot of drills to strengthen our core and upper back and legs. Give yourself here permission to just relax for a moment before we continue on the day. Just relaxing your feet and your toes. Softening any tension around your knees and your legs. Your pelvis is relaxed. Your belly and your chest is relaxed. Your neck and your shoulders are relaxed. Your face is relaxed along with the head. Arms and your fingers fully relaxed. Let your breath feel relaxed, your mind feel relaxed. And enjoy a moment of stillness and silence here. very gently reconnect to that breath, nice and slow. Take an easy breath. Move the body in any way, shape that feels right. Give yourself a long stretch. We're gonna hug the knees into our chest and gently rock side to side, keeping the eyes closed. Roll all the way to your right. You can make a pillow with your right arm. Stay here for a couple breaths. And then pressing the palms into the floor to help you come all the way up into your comfortable seated position. Just take a moment here to appreciate the incredible effects of this practice in our entire well-being. We have 45 minutes where we were moving our bodies, we were breathing with intention, we were keeping our awareness in every movement, in every drill of the practice. And that brings a sense of stability, calm, declutter the mind, makes you feel stronger. Your whole body and joints are very warm and stimulated in a positive way. So let's honor this. Let's honor the effects of the practice, the glow of the practice. Palms together or rest them on the heart. We do a gentle bow of the head as a sign of respect and appreciation for the practice, for the body, for the mind, for the spirit. Always remaining humble, curious about how can we reconnect and discover ourselves that are beyond the physical body. And all of that with a deep sense of gratitude, whether it is a challenge or not. There is something that we can always learn and improve about ourselves. Take a deep breath in. And exhale through the mouth, let everything go. Open your eyes. Infinite gratitude for being here, for practicing this class, for being curious and adventurous, in getting ready for your beautiful flow and fly with crow pose. It's an amazing pose. It was one of my first arm balances, and it can feel so empowering to build your self-esteem, your self-confidence, to believe in yourself, to love and embrace and accept everything that you are, a wonderful human being. I hope to see you very soon in the next class. Remember that at the end, at the description of each video, you have the opportunity to play some music that I suggest in case you enjoy practicing with music. I'll let you go. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you soon. Thank you.